Finally, we have England and the Native Americans and the way that they interacted with each other. Again, this is similar but a little bit different than the other two countries that we are looking at. We know that the English established settlements. So we have a couple pictures here. The bottom one here on the left shows the English kind of coming into a Native American village and looking at how they have things set up and talking to them before they establish a settlement. And then on the right, we have a picture of sort of like a very rough settlement where they're just beginning to set things up. The Native Americans were not against the Europeans settling. The problem is that they wanted to live where the Native Americans were already living. The other interaction that we see is that the Europeans came in and claimed ownership of the land, and that again forced the Native Americans off of their land. And eventually we see that the Native Americans end up in what's called a reservation, or a land that's set aside by the government for them to live in. And we see here a picture of one of the Europeans basically coming in and telling the Native Americans, hey, we're here and we're going to claim this land. Some of the Native Americans just moved on and didn't think it was worth the fight, and some of them did, and there was a lot of battle that went on. This picture here specifically is between a religious group that didn't believe in fighting, and so they would probably have done everything they could to keep it peaceful. Another thing that the interactions between the English and the Native Americans were is that they learned farming techniques from the Native Americans. The Native Americans saw that the English were struggling, and they would come and bring food and show them how to plant this food. This was different growing seasons, different kinds of soil, different kinds of crops that were available. And you couldn't grow the same things in North America that you necessarily could grow in England. So they kind of had to be taught these new farming techniques, and the Native Americans were able to teach them those things. And then finally, we do have some trade that happened between England and Native America. We traded tools and weapons and furs and different goods, just like the other countries did. So a quick recap: the English and the Native Americans, they established settlements, they claimed ownership of land, they learned farming techniques, and they traded goods and furs and other items with the Native Americans. So that is a quick look at the interaction between England and the Native Americans.